reunión será interpretada simultáneamente al español. Si está usando una computadora, diríjase a la barra de tareas en la parte de abajo de su pantalla y haga clic en el icono del mundito y seleccione Español. Si está usando un teléfono inteligente, diríjase a los tres puntitos de la pantalla de su teléfono, haga clic en Interpretación y clic otra vez en Spanish o Español. En breve se activará la función de interpretación. Les pedimos que por favor, si aportan alguna pregunta o un comentario, hablen a un paso moderado para que las intérpretes puedan interpretar de acuerdo a lo que se está diciendo. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting. This meeting will be interpreted simultaneously into Spanish. If you will shortly see a globe at the bottom of your screen, click on that globe and make sure you select the language, either Spanish or English. It is important that you select the language so that if there is any input or questions or remarks in Spanish, the interpreters have the ability to change the channel, and you do not need to change your channel, and you will listen to the interpretation from Spanish to English. We ask that those are presenting or speaking that speak at a moderate pace so that the interpreters can interpret accordingly. Thank you very much and have a great meeting.
Thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and get started with the agenda for this meeting. And I'm just going to reintroduce myself as well. My name is Lujane Alsale. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the East Oakland Clean Air Project Coordinator for Communities for a Better Environment. Really exciting again to see you all this evening. Thank you for being here and for your time. And just some of the two main meeting purposes for today is to learn more about the Community Steering Committee co-chair candidates that you'll get to hear from later on in this meeting, and then also voting on the 2 adults and 1 youth co-chairs. And so we'll be going over the co-chair election for most of this meeting. It'll be followed by a short break, and then we'll actually have the elections and then a celebration and debrief about how the process went. And then we'll close out the meeting before 8 p.m. Next slide, please. And just some initial meeting agreements and notes for participation. Again, we really want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to share, and in order to do that, using the raised hand function when if you have something to say, and making sure that there's not interruptions if someone is sharing something, giving grace for ourselves and one another throughout this time, and making sure to take care of yourself. So if you need to turn your camera off for a little bit, if you need to stretch, drink water, please, we welcome that. And also we strongly encourage using the chat function and reaction emojis if you have any reactions to anything. And then throughout the meeting, if you have specific questions, please, feel free to add that to the chat, and we'll be monitoring that and following back with you. And another thing I forgot to mention is if you can sign in to that you're here, we're going to paste this in the chat. If you could just sign into the Google form to let us know that you're here, that would also be great. And we'll go ahead and move to the next slide, please. So if you could type in, like last meeting, if you could type in your name, your pronouns, and affiliated organizations, please do so. And then if you're not able to enter this information into the chat, if you could raise your hand, and we will have you speak aloud to the group.
Susan is raising her hand.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Susan.
I don't have a chat button. I'm on an iPad.
Okay. Do you see on the bottom of your screen, is there a chat function when you take a look at it?
No, it's black.
Huh, okay. I think on our end, I don't know if there's any type of like, if there's like a little tab function you can press, and if not, we can privately message you to figure that out. But in the meantime, I think, you know, if you have comments, if you're able to raise your hand, and we'll be sure to follow up.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that, Susan. It might just be like an iPad thing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Susan.
Mm.
And if I may, Lujane, Susan, if you can get us started, share your name, your pronouns, and your
Oh.
affiliated organization, since you can't type into the chat.
No, I can't. My name is Susan Goolsby. She, her, and actually I'm not with any organization. My daughter is part of CBE, and I've kind of glommed on to them. And I just want to make our air breathable and healthy.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for being here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. Anyone else would like to share? Well, it's great. So great to see you all. And thank you again for being here. And I think, you know, we'll continue to get to know each other and have icebreakers throughout our time. And I'll go ahead and pass it off to Margareta to talk about the co-chair elections.
Great. Thank you so much, Lujane. Good evening, everyone. I'm Margareta Lynn with Just Cities, and we're a member of the admin team for your work. And super excited about tonight, where we get to continue to practice our democratic process that we have created through the past 2 meetings and vote for co-chairs. Next slide. So we just wanted to go through some reminders of the agreements that the steering committee members have already approved through our voting process. So first, what are the roles and responsibilities the steering committee members have said you want to see in your co-chairs? So number 1, that we need the co-chairs to provide leadership and guidance along with the CBE staff. We want the co-chairs to help plan the agendas and to facilitate breakout sessions and discussion items. We want the co-chairs as community representatives to provide strategic direction for the Air District and CBE to develop the kind of emissions reduction plan that will meet the needs of everyone in East Oakland. The steering committee members have also said it's really important to have consistency among the co-chairs. So if someone misses 2 consecutive co-chair meetings, then we'll need someone else to step up in their place. Next slide. A note from CBE and the Air District regarding their staff hours of availability. They're going to do their very best to accommodate the schedules and availability of the co-chairs. Their staff members normally work between 8 to 6 p.m. But obviously it's past 6 p.m. and we're all here. And the staff members do not want their availability to be a barrier, but just wanted to be transparent about their information. Next slide. Okay, we also voted and approved the qualities that we want to see in co-chairs. people who understand top from bottom what the job of a co-chair of a leader looks like, people who are not easily moved and stand from a place, are centered from a place of integrity and vision, people who are not afraid of the inevitable conflicts that exist among human beings and have great experience resolving conflicts in healthy and productive ways. People who are solution oriented, who also are managing time well and know how to move us from A to B to eventually Z. Folks who have had experience working with the tremendous diversity that is East Oakland and Oakland. People who are great listeners and active listeners. People who have experience managing large groups, because there are a lot of people on the steering committee, and there are also a number of other stakeholders who are not on the steering committee that are part of this larger effort. People who have demonstrated great commitment and community service to the East Oakland community. The steering committee members, you all have also said, we can't hold our young people to these same standards because they haven't had the time for all this experience, right? So that is a very important distinction. Next slide. So what is our process for voting? First, we're going to have time to hear 2-minute speeches from each candidate. And then we're going to have time to take your questions, and we'll talk more about the process, an equitable process for getting questions from all the steering committee members, given our time constraints. And once we go through that process, then we'll be able to take our vote using the roll call method that we came up with in our last meetings. So I just want to pause here to see if there are any questions before we move on. Okay, I don't see any hands for questions. So everyone ready for this process? All right.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Yes.
One of the co-chair candidates is having connectivity issues, and I want to I don't know if this is how this works, but I would not be comfortable voting unless I was sure that all of the candidates had a chance to give their speech and respond to questions. So I want to make sure that we can resolve that before we actually just sort of steamroll forward and do that process and vote.
And I'm sorry, because I have not been looking on chat. Does the CBE and BACMET team know who's having tech issues?
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
for it, Anna.
No, we're chatting about that, and I think Amy is trying to troubleshoot that with Ayana. I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly, but that's a great point that Gabrielle who brought up. Could we do a quick check-in with Amy and Ayana?
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, yes, good evening. I had some issues where I was being kicked out of the Zoom class or the Zoom meeting for maybe about 5 or 6 times. So if it does disconnect, I'll come right back in. But it should be able to work. Are you able to see me? I just want to check. Are you able to see me?
Yes.
It has a, But it has a background that I didn't put. Is it showing the whole person or a picture?
We can see your face, but in a
A picture.
in a picture, yeah, that didn't come from you.
No,
That's
something's wrong.
Okay.
That's my picture, but it doesn't normally show, so
Oh,
I've been having trying to fix it.
so
there a-
Ayana, while we still have you, do you have the phone number in case another tech issue occurs? So worst case scenario, call in.
Is that the 409 number that I'm looking at right now?
So let's do this. Do you have access to chat?
Ayana, I just sent you my number, and so you can feel free to text or call me.
Oh,
And this is DM, this is why other
got it.
people can't see it.
I'm gonna disconnect and come back. I'm gonna try to leave and come back and see what happens, because I definitely didn't put the artwork there. So,
Okay, so,
let me leave and then I'll return.
Great. And meanwhile, Amy will be your tech support
Thank
buddy
you.
for tonight.
Thank
And
you so much.
are there any other folks having tech issues? Great. Thank you, Amy, for supporting Ayana. So I'm gonna turn it over to Deanna. Maybe we can have Ayana go last, just to give her some time to get situated.
Sure, sure. So for our process for the speeches today, we have 3 adult candidates, Ayana Johnson from East Oakland, resident and from the Let's Get It Network. We also have Marina Munoz from East Oakland, a resident as well and a CBE member. Shamar Theas from East Oakland, an East Oakland resident and CBE member and a board member of the Oakland Community Land Trust. And then we've been trying to keep an eye on the attendees, but Xochitl is not present. And so next year, we will do the youth elections for the co-chair. And so right now we're going to have 3 speeches. Folks are going to have 2 minutes each. And we are going to get started with Marina. And just something to keep in mind for our co-chair candidates, I'm going to be keeping track on a timer, and I'm going to let you know when you have 1 minute over the chat. And then when your time is up, I'll unmute myself and I'll ask you to wrap up. So then we can go on to the next person. And then later on, we'll go through a QA process that Margareta will walk us through. And I see Charles, your hand is up.
Yes, are these supposed to be all of the candidates?
Yes.
Because I self-nominated myself in the last meeting.
Charles, the process we had voted on the last meeting was that folks who self-nominated needed to submit a questionnaire form. And we shared the questionnaire with those folks.
I don't remember getting a questionnaire. And I do remember nominating myself in our breakout room.
Anna, I see that you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was actually thought you were gonna say something, Deanna, but apologies. I guess I'm not sure how it was missed, Charles, Mr. Reed. So I'm gonna suggest I'm gonna suggest and see if folks are okay with allowing Mr. Reed to join the slate of candidates. What do are folks okay with that? And maybe to indicate if folks are okay, we could use a thumbs up process. Gabrielle, do you want to go?
I'm just wondering, could we take some time to have him answer the questions that were answered in the questionnaire? And then we would have the same information that we have for the other candidates? Because in that case, I would be fine with it. It's just a matter of having all the information for all the candidates.
Yeah, Charles, do you mind? We can pose the questions verbally.
Sure, that
Okay.
sounds fair to me.
Hi, this is Carol Core. I'm perfectly okay with that option as well. For some reason, my thumbs up wouldn't work.
Okay, then actually, Gabby, can you pull up the questions for the questionnaire and add them to the chat? And I think it may make more sense for us to start with Charles and then go through the other folks, and they'll have their 2 minutes to speak. So Charles, what neighborhood are you from?
Oh, I'm from East Oakland. They call it Toller Heights, but we not that high up.
Okay, and organization affiliation, if applicable?
Right now, Black Men Speaks, which is an organization to help formerly incarcerated individuals reintegrate back into society.
Okay. And then the next question is, what does a community-driven emissions reduction plan for East Oakland mean to you?
Opportunity for the community to actually take control of their destiny. It allows for us to all be involved and to have our voices heard and to enact policies that are to our betterment as opposed to the way they've been, which are to our detriment. So I look at it as an opportunity for empowerment of our communities.
Thank you. And then the last question is, please share your experience and why you are the best person to be an East Oakland co-chair.
Well, I would just consider myself to be experienced in the AB 617 implementation process by me having worked with West Oakland Environmental Indicators Project and Miss Margaret for the last 2.5 years. I walked into that room not knowing what environmental justice was, and I walked out with a job after she drafted me. And so that's where I've been ever since, and I'm proud to say that. And I would love to bring some of the lessons learned from the implementation process in West Oakland to East Oakland so that we could circumvent some of the short stops that we went through.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
and
you.
I am born, bred, and raised East Oaklander.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And now I can start the timer whenever you're ready, and we can give you time for your 2-minute speech.
Oh, I didn't know I was going to end up going first too. You know, that's a lot of pressure.
Unless, well, we can
Oh,
also.
no, I'm fine. I'm fine. So I'm ready when you are.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So for all of you who don't know me, my name is Charles Reed. I'm recently released from prison after doing 31 years on a 15 to life sentence. I came home in 2017 and I saw a city I didn't recognize. And so the first thing, it hurt my heart. And I realized that I had been part of that problem when I was a young person. And so the first thing I wanted to do was get into community service and become a community servant. And that's what I did. I went to Roots Community Health Center, where I was their first and only economic empowerment coordinator, where we worked to, where I was the job developer. I went to Operation Dignity, where I worked with our unhoused population. And then I went to the Emerald New Deal campaign, and where I worked as to change policy for our people, to empower our people through policy change. And the thing is when I met Ms. Margaret, I had no idea that environmental justice held so many possibilities. And once I got involved in it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I can get people to come down here and meet these people, the same people that we're talking about helping. And so I actually was able to coordinate and organize a 28-member tour to the Wood Street area from our West Oakland Steering Committee members. And it changed their outlook and view of people, because they realized that they had a recycling program of their own. They had gardening crews. And so they realized that even though our unhoused population don't have houses, they do have organizational skills and they have something to offer. And so I'm hoping through environmental justice, we create workforce development opportunities that allow them and allow our people to use talents that they haven't been able to get paid for from. And as far as West Oakland is concerned, I believe that the lessons I learned, I've already tried to, address and with East Oakland. And that's why I brought up the fact that I really believe that our youth need to be involved, and so that we will have that generational tie. Because the one thing that happened with West Oakland is that we lost our community support during COVID-19. And so I think that as a coach here, we have to take into consideration all of those different things that we learned, and try to circumvent them, because they can become problems if we ignore them. And the other thing is, I want to thank CBE and all of the other entities that brought the CERP to East Oakland, because this showed cooperation, it showed a coalition. And now that's what our co-chairs would have to be. They would have to be able to cooperate and coalesce with other people to get things done for the betterment of the group. And it would always be about the community. It would never be about me. It's because I'm just a concerned community servant. And that's what I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, Ayana, are you back on?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Hello, welcome. So this is our second co-chair candidate, Ayana Johnson, an East Oakland resident and from the
Yes.
Let's Get It Network. Ayana, we're going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to give you a 1 minute mark via the chat. And then when you're at time, I'll unmute myself to have you wrap up. So whenever you're ready.
Hi, I want to say good evening to everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for participating in something so epic that this may possibly make history. My name is Ayana Johnson, and I'm going for a co-chair position. For a long time, I've been a person of the people. 10 years ago, before Let's Get It Networks, I was one of the 5 that organized for something called Occupy Oakland. It started off with 20 people and turned into 50,000 strong with major organizations under our umbrella. And we've extended out to many organizations where we help people to this day. Since then, I currently oversee a great amount of East Oakland curbside communities. So what I'm looking to do as a co-host, I'm actually doing that in the streets. I take care of a lot of curbside communities. I provided housing to 500 plus during the pandemic. I raised over $260,000 to house a lot of the unhoused during the COVID crisis and pandemic. To this day, I've organized and basically I am a correspondent between the curbside communities and city government and local government, Alameda County and the city of Oakland. So currently, basically I distribute food and hot meals and water. I create opportunities for porta potties and hand washing stations. I've created vaccination and testing sites with throughout East Oakland in order to curb some of the COVID crisis, and that was my response. I currently think that everybody should be heard. It's just the way in how we facilitate everything. So I'm looking to be a co-host, and I hope I have your vote. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing the results. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and then our next person is Marina Munoz, who's also an East Oakland resident and a CBE member. Marina, just like with other folks, I'm giving you 2 minutes, gonna let you know via chat when you're at the 1 minute mark. And then if you're already at time, I'll unmute myself to remind you to finish up. So whenever you're ready.
Sí, y ya estoy lista. Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Marina Muñoz, ¿verdad? Soy de Oakland.
Yes, I'm ready. My name is Marina Munoz. I'm from East Oakland. I have 4 children. I came from Mexico City, and I want other people, the other Hispanic people that we have been participating for many years, that we've participated in this process. I think that we are all very important. It's important for us to participate, isn't that right? I've been organizing for many years, and I was organizing in Causa Justa about housing. It's important for our community to have knowledge of how people get unhoused and what are our rights. So I worked there. I've organized in the environment. There's a photo from 2016 when I went out into the street to do studies about dangerous chemicals that we were breathing, and I'm involved with children in the schools. With our children, I've worked planning justice, and I've given a lot of food to the community, and there's been people whose homes have burned. I've helped, I've given them, I've donated food to them, and for me, it would be a good place. I'd be a good fit for that because there's a lot of information, and also I would be involved with Hispanic people, because Hispanic people, we don't have much voice because we don't exactly speak English, and I'm here for interpreting, and I think that we're going to do work together, everybody in our community in East Oakland, because we want our children to breathe pure air, the same for everybody, older people as well. We want a change in East Oakland, and not just here. We want in the whole United States that we could change everything. We need a lot of effort, because it's a lot of effort for what we want to do, working hard, because I've worked hard in my community and I've brought a lot of information to young people, and I'm involved with young people and planning justice so that there's a place for young people. So we've worked really hard to try to achieve those goals. And I think that here in the environment, I've worked a lot with Estelle for many years, and this is the place who opened its doors to me to continue to follow my projects that I want for our community. Thank you very much.
Gracias, Marina. Thank you, Marina. Okay, and so then our last co-chair candidate today is Shamar Theus, an East Oakland resident, CBE member, and a board member of the Oakland Community Land Trust. Shamar, you have 2 minutes. I'll put in the chat when you have a minute left, and I'll unmute myself if you're at time to have you wrap up. So you can get started when you're ready.
Cool, I appreciate that. And yeah, thanks to everybody. Those were all really great presentations, more than speeches. Like, really great to hear and get to know folks. So I'm really looking forward to being in this space with everybody. Apologize if I'm not looking straight. My camera and my screen aren't actually aligned. But yeah, just to reintroduce myself, my name is Shamar. Last name is pronounced Theus. You can just call me Shamar. I would say for my primary organizational affiliation, it's actually Black Organizing Project. I am, I guess, a CBE member in name. I'm on the newsletters and I go to some of the events, but I'm not like paying dues or actually, regularly attending meetings or having been a long-term member. Black Organizing Project, I've been with them for closer to 13 years now. And that's an organization that's really close to my heart. Been with it since, day one, and just really their commitment to, just being independent, being community minded, and really deeply engaging residents as stakeholders in these issues that we're talking about. And when we're talking about this committee in specific, really my bottom line for this committee is really making sure that it addresses the goal of reducing air pollution, improving air quality for those of us that live here, bottom line. And, I think, I'm pretty independent. I'm really not affiliated with any of the organizations or the entities that are involved in this process. I'm really of the community and really want to see this really deeply engage the community from the beginning to the end in a really meaningful way. Again, that's my priority. Again, bottom line, we've got to see something that has a tangible impact on air pollution and improving air quality. Bottom line, like, it's a lot of resources that the California government can bring to bear to do this, and we got to make sure that it's actually what's happening. And I think that it can happen through deep, meaningful community engagement. And I, again, as far as experience, I think, as a member of the Black Organizing Project, I've been able to see that and experience that, and hope can, bring some ideas. And, I don't want to influence or be overbearing. I don't really fully understand what the role of the chair is, because I don't actually fully understand how this process is actually getting to that ultimate goal of improving air quality, reducing air pollution. But, I'm here to see that through in a way that deeply engages community. As someone who sits on a formal board, I'm familiar with the parliamentary procedures and, running meetings, developing agendas, minutes, etc. So some experience there. But also being on the stakeholder committee for the Better Neighborhood, Same Neighbors initiative, which is another one of these government funded, really seeing a lot of resources finally come into our community, but really, seeing the deep need for oversight so that these, impacts actually happen with resources used responsibly. So
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you. So we've heard from 4 of our co-chair candidates, and I'm going to pass it back on to Margaretta so we can get to the Q&A portion of our elections.
Great. Thank you so much, Deanna, and thank you so much to the inspiring candidates who have stepped up. So we're trying to balance a number of different things in today's process. Always around time. There are a lot of members of the steering committee, and it's important from an equity perspective that we make sure we get to hear from everyone. And we can't be here all night. So we're proposing that we spend 2 minutes for each steering committee member to put into chat the questions you have for the candidates. And for steering committee members who are unable to use the chat function, we're going to have you unmute yourself and you can just orally tell us your question. Then we're going to go into a 5-minute break to give time for the facilitation team to take the questions and consolidate them, right? So if there are similar questions or same question, they can just get consolidated. When we return, we'll have 30 minutes for Lu Jane and Kita to ask the questions of the candidates. And just as a guiding principle, we're asking steering committee members to, instead of directing your questions to individual candidates, to create a question that everyone can respond to, right? Again, from a place of equity. So does that sound good as our process tonight?
Sounds fine.
Okay, Kimmy, I see your hand up.
How many questions did you say we could put in the chat, Margareta?
So we didn't come up with a ceiling, Kimmy,
Okay.
but you have 2 minutes. So so many questions that you can type in 2 minutes, my friend.
All righty, thank you.
Any other questions?
Margareta, we did have a question in the chat about when we sent the co-chair questionnaires out, William Crotinger was on there, and so maybe we can have CBE speak to that.
Yep, great. So let's do that now. Lu Jane.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. And so, as many of you know, there's the California Air Resources Board People's Blueprint, and I'll pull up the criteria and I can share that in the chat. And part of the criteria is that for the co-chair that they're a resident of East Oakland and a community member, and given Bill's role with Argent, that would be, and its affiliation with industry, that would be a conflict of interest. And we really appreciate Bill being a part of the steering committee, and just want to make sure that the co-chairs are specifically residing in East Oakland and don't have affiliations with industry. And happy to clarify. I see, Julia, that you have your hand up, and happy to pass it to you.
Thanks. I just wanted to clarify that the People's Blueprint is a document that was put together by a group of EJ leaders. It's not a CARB document, so it's not a requirement under the AB 617 law. So I just wanted to clarify that. But it is, it is guidance from some of our EJ leaders on how this program should be implemented.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah, any questions that anyone else has? And I'll be sure to put the People's Blueprint too in the chat, just for reference for everybody. And then I see Shamar, you asked, should I disclose that I am a CNC manual machinist by trade, not currently working in East Oakland? And sorry, Shamar, what does CNC, just for clarification, what does that stand for?
Sorry, I'll come back. Just real quick, just to the last point, the piece of working in industry, like to define that. Because yeah, I mean, I raised my eyebrow to the Argent inclusion, just considering the area of industry that they work in. But the skilled trades have a long history in East Oakland. I know a lot of folks either have worked or currently do work in the skilled trades. The skilled trades offer lots of opportunities for folks. There was a time when there was a machine shop right down the street from my neighborhood. They weren't an issue. They weren't the polluters in any meaningful way, compared to, actual polluting heavy industry. So I don't know that distinction, because I would say that I advocate for industry. As someone who, again, is a tradesperson, by trade, even if I don't currently work in that industry, because those opportunities may not exist in that capacity. I don't break rocks. I bend metal. So, you know, just that nuance of defining industry.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing that, Shamar, because you know we want to clarify too that it's not at all it's important for community members and workers within industry to also be a part of the steering committee and to hear your perspectives and experiences, and at the same time not having industry lead the process. Like there's a clear distinction and it's nuanced. So we want to make sure that it's not in any way that anyone is being singled out, but just making sure that we prevent that conflict of interest from kind of like steering the committee in that sense.
Great, thank you so much, Lou Jane, for providing that transparency. So let's move into 2 minutes where we all are just the steering committee members get to add your questions for the candidates into the chat. And again, remember to frame your questions as questions for all the candidates. And are there any folks who cannot type on the chat? Please unmute yourself and tell us your question, and the team will write it down and make sure it gets integrated. And Gianna, you're keeping time for us, right? So you'll let us know when the 2 minutes is up?
Yes, I am. We have a minute
Awesome.
and 20 seconds.
Oh, and I see that Cynthia raised her hand. Please, Cynthia.
Thank you. So you're just getting as many questions as possible, and then will you ask all of them or pick some of them?
Folks are going to consolidate them.
Okay,
And
perfect.
so
Thank you.
we're seeing some similar questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep. Gianna, is it time?
Yep.
It is time, folks. Great. So the staff team members are going to go into a breakout room where they're going to take all the questions in chat and consolidate them. And meanwhile, everyone else has 5 minutes of break, and we will see you back here at 7 o'clock. DJ Amy, do you want to play some of your tunes?
Got it.
Hi, here are the questions.
Gabby, I think it helps if you stop recording just to make it easier for like editing purposes.
Oh, I was gonna leave the room.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you.
With what it is I have, put my heart and soul into the song. Yes, yes. I hope you feel me from where I am to wherever you are. I mean that sincerely. Tomorrow may never come. For you and me, life is not promised. Tomorrow may never appear. You better hold this very moment, very close to you right now, very close to you right now, so close to you right now, so close to you. Don't be afraid to let it shine. My homie said, shine your light on the world, shine your light for the world to see. My hobby said, shine your light on. Shine your light for the world to see. My army said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My umi said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. Sometimes I get discouraged. I look around and things are so weak. People are so weak. Sometimes I feel like crying. Sometimes my heart gets heavy. Sometimes I just wanna leave and float away. Sometimes I don't know what to do with myself. Passion takes over me. Feel like a man going insane. Lose my brain, trying to maintain my thing. Hey, 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 hey. Put my heart and soul into this, y'all. I hope you feel me where I am to wherever you are. Sometimes I don't want to be bothered. Sometimes I just want a quiet life. Me and my baby, me and my lady. Sometimes I don't want to get in snowball. Sometimes I don't want to be a soldier. Sometimes I just want to be a man. But Umi said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My hobby said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My dreamer said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My elder said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. I want black people to be free, to be free, to be free. For my people to be free, to be free, to be free. For black people to be free, to be free, to be free. For black people to be free. That's all that matters to me. 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 Black people unite and let's all get that. Gotta have what? Gotta have that love. Each of them say they want God, one life, one man, one voice, one mic. Black people unite. Come on and do it right. Black people unite. Come on and do it right. Black people unite. Come on and get down. Gotta have what? Love, peace, and understanding. One God, one voice, one life, one man, one shine my light. Black people unite. Hop up and do it right. Black people unite. Come on and do it right. Yeah, baby, that's what I like. Yeah, baby, that's what I like. Black people, my people, black people, my people, my people. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Oh, wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hair. But they don't have so very long before their judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we could do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out, they do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na, 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Yeah. Change it, yeah, just you and me. Change it, yeah, change it. Can't do it alone, can't do it alone. Need some help, y'all, y'all. Can't do it alone, can't do it alone. Yeah, yeah. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Need a little help, y'all. Yes, I do. Need a little help. Say it, boy. Need some help, y'all. Change the world, what it used to be. Can't do it alone. Can't do it alone. Need some help, yeah. Need some help, yeah. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in there. No more back to thinking. Time for thinking ahead. Come on now. Wake up, everybody. I'm talking about the don't push out. Stop pushing that don't push. Don't use us. Stop using the don't. Wake up. Yeah. Well, hey, wonder what you tell me now. Wonder what you tell me now. False lying. False preaching. Yeah, yeah. False teaching. Yeah. Wake up, y'all.
All right, everyone, we are back. Just want to thank folks for your questions. They were really thoughtful, and our team has been able to consolidate them. So I'm going to turn it over to LaJane to just walk us through the guidelines for this process.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Margareta. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is read each question, and each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question, and that we'll be also doing a time check to kind of keep it on track and make sure we're able to get to all of the questions, and that everyone has the opportunity to answer those questions. So I'm going to go ahead and I can start off with the first question. So the first question is, what is your ideal vision for environmental justice in East Oakland? And how are environmental justice and racial justice issues connected? And how can that be a priority in AB 617? So that's the first question. And I'll go ahead and pass it to whoever would like to start off, who's a nominee for the co-chair.
Okay, so let's do it this way. I propose we do it in the same order of how we did the speeches. So Charles, would you like to get us started?
I have no problem getting us started, but I would like for us to rotate, like after me, let go to somebody else, and that would be fair.
I will. Okay, so your
Then-
time starts now.
Okay, and so when I look at environmental justice, I look at the fact that you can have no justice without atonement. And it's not enough to apologize without doing something to repair that harm. And so I look at the environmental justice and the racial social justice as being one and two of the same, because the predicament that a lot of people of our people that they are in right now is because of environmental racism. And so if we don't approach the environmental racism and begin to look at how can we define equity out of that? And so that's what I'm hoping that the SERP is able to do, is to create a blueprint of what environmental equity looks like. Because I think that also includes employing our people and empowering our people through employment and knowledge. And so I'm hoping that as we move forward, we create the opportunities to have our people participate and gain that knowledge and that skill set and be employed in the 21st century green building workforce that we need to develop. And so I can end that right there. And thank you very much for listening to me, you guys.
Thank you so much. Okay, Ayana.
Hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you for the question. So my ideal vision for environmental justice in East Oakland is when the people that I serve don't have to walk around with inhalers or any kind of medical assist in order to breathe fresh air. Now, in our communities, I see a lot of factories, I see a lot of industrial sites that we come across every day, and we have to inhale these fumes, especially if we're in curbside communities. I find that a lot of the people that I assist, there's a history of COPD or any kind of chronic or respiratory issues. And I mostly see that basically in East Oakland. So I see it connected to a lot of the industrial sites that we stay by, live by, and provide for our families by. And the people that are mostly affected are like the special population, which is our senior citizens and our children. And I kind of want to be a pivot of change for that. I believe that environmental justice and racial justice, they're intertwined, because a lot of the places where we have the most issues with respiratory or breathing issues are in red line areas like East Oakland. You will never see like a factory or any of those kind of industrial sites in places like Piedmont. So why would it be any different in East Oakland? There's not a balance there. So I believe that me providing and assisting with the co-host situation would help implement and bring us all together so we could figure out together how to resolve a lot of the issues, especially health issues that reside in East Oakland and neighborhoods like East Oakland. So I just want to be like a pivoted change and assist anywhere that I'm necessary or where I can assist. So that's why. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Marina?
Sí. Para mí, ¿verdad? El trabajo se debe de ser conjunto, ¿verdad? Tanto el medio ambiente con el trabajo racial, ¿verdad? Porque los dos van de la mano para hacer nuestra visión que queremos, ¿verdad? Limpiar el este de Oakland, ¿sí? Porque es la área industrial que más tenemos aquí, ¿verdad? Voy a dar un testimonio de rápido, ¿verdad? Y eso es lo que quiero evitar. Mis hijas han sufrido de asma y tienen sus inhaladores y yo sufro de alergias, tomo pastilla. Entonces yo no quiero que mi comunidad siga lo mismo que yo estoy sufriendo. Quiero un cambio, ¿verdad? Necesitamos hacer un cambio en el este de Oakland, ¿verdad? Para nuestros niños y nuestras personas de la tercera edad, que puedan respirar un aire puro, ¿verdad? Porque aquí en esta área hay mucha fábrica, ¿sí? Y en otros lugares
Industrial areas where there are none in other areas. And they're breathing healthy. Why not us? Why are we poor in this area? We need to do something. We need to join the environmental justice and the racial justice to implement this project, because our kids need to breathe clean air. And so we're going to try to bring the community together and work hard and walk the streets. All the litter and all the trash that we have, everything's contaminating. So we have to work very hard. This is my vision, to come out with the kids so that they learn what we are breathing is not good, that they help us pick up trash, that they go hand in hand with mom and to do research, and so that they see the things that are being contaminated us. So that's what we want for East Oakland. We want a clean environment, and we need to accomplish it. How? Working very hard, all united as a community. Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much. And then Shamar?
Muchísimas gracias.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I'd say 100% environmental equity, environmental justice, absolutely critical. I think this is one critical pathway towards that end goal. I'm definitely of two minds. Like, I think, ultimately, I want to live in a community where folks don't have to necessarily think about it, right? Where you don't have to notice when you go into a different community the ways that your community is mistreated, the ways that your health is suffering as a result of, at the end of the day, choices, planning decisions that were made with intent or without intent that we absolutely know now have a negative impact, and that is disproportionately affecting neighborhoods like East Oakland, which is predominantly folks of color, predominantly folks low to moderate incomes, folks maybe from immigrant families, like definitely backgrounds where we're marginalized and left out of the conversation. We suffer in every area. And so, like other folks have identified, it's tied to racial justice, tied to economic justice. But at the end of the day, I think this committee, just looking at air quality and air pollution specifically, it's just such a poignant example of the way environmental injustice and environmental racism have historically impacted folks, are impacting folks right now, and that we just have this opportunity to hold folks accountable, to hold regulatory agencies accountable to, actually doing the work and advocating and holding polluters accountable, advocating for new regulatory frameworks. And really, I think, again, just a new approach. When you talk about equity and justice, you know, again, you want to get to a point where folks know what's going on. Folks understand it's like, hey, why was I born with asthma, right? Why do I wake up in the middle of the night? I can't breathe. These things aren't random. It's not, you know, anything but, you know, the conditions that we've kind of created in these communities, and that needs to be addressed. And folks need to know about it, but also, you know, we got to find new solutions. We got to think outside the box, and we actually got to bring resources to bear.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lujane, second question.
Yeah, thank you also so much for that. So going on to the next question, what do you think will be the biggest challenge in your work as a co-chair? And I think we can go ahead and start this time with Ayana.
Hi, yes. You know, I think the biggest challenge being a co-chair will probably be making sure that everybody's voices mattered in any kind of motion that we were doing. I would want to make sure everybody felt heard, because we are all doing this together. We're all starting something new together. So I think the biggest challenge in regards to overseeing about what is it, 50 of us total? There's 50 of us total, making sure everybody feels like they had an impact in providing change within East Oakland. So I think that would be the greatest challenge.
Thank you. Next, can we have Charles?
Hello.
Diana, I'm sorry. I think we had an agreement that we would rotate, so it actually would be Mariana next, just from an equity standpoint.
Okay, then Marina, can you go next?
Yo creo que el reto más grande.
I think the greatest challenge would be that we really need to work together with our communities, with our affected community, listen to their voices, and do some surveys of all the needs that we have here with all the industry and all the contamination, and monitor the industries, because that would be a great challenge where we know which industry or factory is contaminating the most.
Siguiendo, ¿verdad?
Which one is actually following the rules? Because a lot of times when the supervisors, for example, review all the industries, they change their filters, but after it's being supervised, then they change it for the dirty ones. So that's what we have to do. Make sure that we check the industries, that they're not contaminating more, because that's why we have to work very hard with the community and go to the schools, that the children also give us their input. What are they going through? What are they suffering? And so that they also help us, because the student portion of it is very important in this process of the air that's being polluting. So we need the young, the children, to hear their voices other than the rest of the community. And I'm willing to go out on the streets, to knock on doors. We have to knock on doors and conduct surveys and help the community so that we hear from them. What is the problem that's happening in East Oakland? Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you so much. Now it's time for Shamar. Oh, you're muted. Okay, there you go. We can hear you.
Got it. Sorry. Yeah, no, I definitely, I obviously, I always agree with everybody else that folks are saying, specifically what Marina was just saying, as far as just engaging the community under the current format. I think a big challenge and something I think that we can definitely overcome is, you know, at a base level, kind of getting to a good understanding of the committee, like what adjustments we can make. I personally would be a big advocate for figuring out some way to do a hybrid format. You know, I've seen little devices, you know, I've not done a lot of Zoom meetings, obviously not really prepared for it. Not my preferred format. It's not the most accessible. I know as far as engaging a larger, you know, there's 100,000 people in this community, dang near. And, you know, I know we're not gonna get everybody, but this is something, it's a topic that impacts everyone. And I think, you know, finding ways, to get the word out in an effective way. And I think that's, you know, about finding effective partnerships to really amplify that this project is happening, that resources are available, that the conversation is happening, and that folks can get involved. And I think also just finding venues where, you know, folks, and all the Air District folks, those important stakeholders might need to come in. I did a review of East Bay Mud recently. They had a whole situation. So I don't know what the resources that are available to kind of facilitate that, but I've been at plenty of in-person things over the last year. There's lots of venues in the neighborhood that I think can accommodate some kind of, you know, gathering that is accessible to the community and that can, you know, facilitate deeper conversations and that kind of engagement. Just to, because yeah, I think that is just being the biggest thing. Because I think it's hard to be a chair if you don't have, you know, a body that's contributing and engaging and involved in the process. And I think it needs to be really broad. And there's a lot of folks out here, and I know a lot of folks are thinking about this. And yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. And Charles.
Thank you very much. And I look at one of the biggest challenges as being changing the system that the agencies have become used to. I think that's been one of the big reasons why communities' voices haven't been heard, is because the agencies haven't been willing to hear us. And that's going to be our responsibility, that we have to stand up and be strong and firm. And we have to have integrity in the work that we do. And when I say that, I mean the integrity to put the community's needs foremost. And so for me, it would be like being a protector of our community's rights, which haven't been being respected for years and years and years. And so I don't think that we should, I think one of the other challenges is as good as the word equity sounds, it has yet to be defined. And that's up to us to define that word. It's up to the community that haven't been getting equity to define what equity looks like and feels like to us, not top down, but bottom up. And then I think creating a genuinely cooperative process and inclusive process, because we all have to work together to get this done. And so it's not about credit, it's about accomplishment. And I hope that we're able to focus on that, and that'll help all of us involved be able to find our commonalities to get to where we want to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Lujane.
Thank you all so much. And this is our final question. I know there's a couple more still, and we'll see if we can get to them. So how do you engage policymakers? As a co-chair, how would you hold agency staff accountable in this process? And we'll go ahead and start off with Marina.
Sí, yo haría esto, ¿verdad? Siempre he
Yes, I
comentado.
would do this. I've always commented that they should leave their offices, the policymakers, because they never realize what's happening in our communities. Isn't that right? For example, all of this that we're living through right now, only we know about this. Our children are with inhalers. Why? Because they don't listen to our community. So we're going to get them out, I would go get them out from their offices and invite them so that they can come and see our communities, do a walkthrough of our communities, our schools, and that they should do a survey, see all the people that are using inhalers that have allergies, so that they realize all the damage that industries are doing here in East Oakland. So I think that's really important, that we should get these politicians out, these they should come to us. They should see with their own eyes. It's different being in an office working, right? When you're in an office, you're in a room. When you go into the street, you realize all the problems that are in our communities, and principally our community in East Oakland. People with little money, those are the most damaged. So I would invite them so that they should come. That I should tell them to accompany me to do this work and do this work together, because alone and without resources, we can't do it, everything that we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you so much. Can we have Shamar go next?
Thank you. Good question, important question. I think it's critically important that we kind of set the groundwork for this whole process with just setting a basic understanding of some deliverables, I think, of the process. I think we got to know I think we're still at that point A, we got to know where the point B is so we can find that, pathway to actually accomplishing it, and just along the way being able to, kind of check our progress and being able to, advocate for what's needed to kind of move us along with the Air Board and the other folks, the entities that are just leading this whole process. I think that also just is going to require some clarity around kind of what exactly the roles are of the agencies, the organizations, and just the larger community, and kind of the ways that we're kind of all interacting with each other. Again, I think respectfully, with the mutual understanding of what the goals, the values, and the mission of this whole initiative is. And yeah, with just the understanding that at the end of the day, I think, a lot of this falls on government. Just to say that, I think we've kind of created this framework where, it's the onus is on the regulatory agencies. We can talk again, I love what Charles is saying on the last question. We can talk about all day long about equity, but we have to define what that means, what that actually looks like, and hold people accountable. And at the end of the day, that's not going to be up to individuals. I think it's up to individuals to influence and make their voices heard in that process, so that it isn't the folks who are doing the polluting who are making the decisions. It's actually the folks who are most impacted, who are at the head of the table, dictating what we want to see and how we get there, and what the steps are, and what the tangible things that are gonna, again, reduce air pollution and improve air quality, because we need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Charles.
Thank you. And when it comes to policy, I think that one of the things we don't really understand the power of policy, even though we've been impacted by it for so long. Redlining is a policy. And so in gaining the understanding of the power of policy, it would allow us to then be able to understand how to change it and make it work in our desired manner, as opposed to against us as it has been. As I worked on the Emerald New Deal campaign, I had the opportunity to meet and talk to numerous city council members, mayoral candidates, and people, county supervisors, in getting their support for our measure, which was to have the marijuana tax money reallocated to the communities that were over-policed during the war on drugs. And so I believe that I've been able to develop relationships with them where they trust me, and I can talk to them, I can call them and find some kind of resolution, or should I say cooperation, on their behalf. And so when I would also like to say that we mainly need to develop our base of support, because no policymaker is going to listen to any group of people when there's only 3 of them. And so we need to maintain our base of support, build up our base of support, especially amongst our young people. And by that way, we'll have that future generation that's ready for the fight, already educated and armed with the knowledge that they need. And so I'll end there.
Thank you so much. And I will pass it back to Margareta.
Great. Thank you all so much for.
Didn't we miss somebody?
Oh, we did. Ayana.
Hi, yes.
Sorry about that. I'm so sorry, Ayana.
That's okay. I just wanted to say that basically you engage policymakers by actually knowing some of the policies. If you know what's going on in the present, then if you don't know what's going on in the present, how can you dictate the future? So in order to, engage with policymakers, I believe you should kind of learn like the policies that are enacted as of now. And then any questions you engage by trying to gain an understanding or clarity on the policies that are currently passed. In order to hold, for the co-chair to hold agency staff accountable for the process, you just remind them of, the position that they're in and, what they're supposed to provide as an agency. And basically, you inform them on the impact that their decisions would have on a community. So I think that's how you would, keep them captivated and hold people accountable for what they do, because sometimes we forget of the responsibility that we have when we make decisions and who it impacts the most. So I think if you bring that in a light and remind them, I think it would get people back on track. So that's my answer.
Great. Thank you so much, Ayana and Charles and Marina and Shamar. You all are such inspiring leaders. And this is tough, right? For us to be able to select just 2 people for co-chairs. However, it's important for all of us to know that there are going to be other leadership opportunities. We're going to have working committees or subcommittees, and we're going to need steering committee leaders to co-lead those working groups or the subcommittees, right? So even if for the folks who don't get to be able to be selected for this round, this is not the end of your leadership, right? So we would like to take 5 minutes to give the steering committee members just some space to reflect on all the really powerful and profound information you have heard. And from that place of reflection and wisdom, make a decision about the 2 people you want to vote for. And as we agreed, the process will be the 2 candidates who get the most votes will become the co-chairs. Okay, so it's 7:32. We're going to take roll call. Gabby and Diana will be doing roll call for us at 7:37 on the dot, where we're just going to go to each and every steering committee member for you to announce your top 2 candidates, and we will record that. When we're done with roll call, then Gabby will be sharing the Excel spreadsheet, the tally. We're doing this in a very transparent way so everyone can see how the votes were tallied. All right. So we'll be back at 7:37 to take your votes. Thank you, everyone.
Charles has his hand up.
Oh, Charles, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask you, hey, we from Oakland? We ain't doing ranked choice voting?
Charles, you and I said we weren't going to talk about ranked choice voting here. That's for drinks later. Okay, you all. 7:37. Okay, everyone. It is roll call time. And why don't we stop screen sharing so that we can see everyone better?
Margareta, I do want to ask the CSC if they'd prefer to see the names when it comes to the voting.
Great. So would it be helpful to have the slide up with names? Yes. Okay, let's do it. So let's do roll call. Who's up first?
Okay, we're gonna go in alphabetical order. And so when I call out your name, say the names for the two people that you're voting for, and Gabby will keep tally of that. And then at the end, we'll screen share our spreadsheet. So, Ayana.
Tengo una pregunta antes de todo. Nosotros los que
I have a
estamos.
question. Are we gonna vote too?
Yes. All
See-
CSC voting members are voting. So the only CSC member who is non-voting right now is the port. So Colleen won't be voting, but all of the other CSC members will.
And it's fine to vote for yourself.
Yes.
Ok, esa era mi pregunta. Ujú.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay, so Ayana,
Hi, yes, I'm here. I'm here. I'll take a vote for myself.
and you get 2 votes.
Okay, and my alternate is Shamar.
Okay, and there will be 2 co-chairs. And so okay. Thank you. And Andrea Pineda?
Charles and Ayana.
Thank you. And Andrea Blackman?
Ayana and Charles.
Thank you. Carol Core?
Charles Reed and Marina Munoz.
Thank you. Charles Reed?
Only because I don't want to lose by 1 vote, vote for me, but I also vote for Ayana.
Okay. Cynthia?
I vote for Charles and Ayana.
Okay. Danny?
I vote for Miss Ayana and Charles.
Okay. Gabrielle?
Charles and Ayana.
And earlier I didn't see this person here, but just in case, Guadalupe Gonzalez? Okay. Jamaica?
My vote is Charles and Ayana.
Thank you. Jamie?
Charles and Marina.
Thank you. And also, didn't see them here, but just in case, Jasmine Gonzalez? Okay. Kalila? Kalila Haynes?
My vote is for Charles and Ayana.
Thank you.
Sorry, my vote is for Charles and Ayana. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Kimmy?
Oh, thanks so much.
Charles and Marina.
Thank you. Marina?
Yo me voto, los 2 votos a mi nombre.
I would like to vote the 2 votes for my name.
Hago los 2 votos
Can I?
para mí.
I want to vote the 2 votes for me.
Okay. And then Marika? Okay, not here. And then Miss Cecilia, I don't think I saw her, but Miss Cecilia, are you here? Okay, then Michaela?
Yes, sorry. I vote for Charles and Marina.
Thank you. Jerry?
Yes, my vote is for Charles and Marina.
Thank you. Shamar?
Hey, I'd like to vote for Charles and Marina, but I think everybody did fantastic. And we're all going to be great members of the committee.
Thank you. Susan?
Ayana and Marina.
Thank you. Bill?
Charles and Ayana.
Thank you. I don't think I saw this person here, but Xochitl? Okay, and Erica?
Charles and Marina.
Thank you. And I think I just saw Jasmine Gonzalez.
I don't know. I just got here, so I don't feel comfortable voting because I don't know
Okay,
enough.
abstaining.
Sorry.
Okay, got it. No, not a problem. Thank you. And that is everyone.
Well, thank you, Gianna. Let's just confirm, are there any steering committee members who did not vote yet? Okay. So, Jasmine? Yep. That's right. Thank you, Jasmine, besides Jasmine. So everyone, every single steering committee, except for Jasmine, has voted.
Can we just confirm the absent folks are Guadalupe Gonzalez, Miss Cecilia Cunningham, Sochio, and
Marika.
Marika Reagan. So not present still, right?
Okay, Gabby, let us know when you are ready to announce the results.
Yes, so the two people with the most votes are Ayana and Charles.
Congratulations, Ayana and Charles. And so grateful to Marina and Shamar for stepping up. And know that we're going to be calling on you very soon for your leadership for this process. So I think we have time.
But for the victory speeches?
No.
Oh.
We want to hear appreciation for all four candidates, especially for Marina and Shamar, and I'll let tag Lou Jane to come in to facilitate this part.
Yeah, thank you all so much. I just, wanted to thank you for sharing more about your experiences, and you all would be such incredible leaders, and you are incredible leaders, and just wanted to congratulate Charles and Ayana for being our new co-chairs, and just wanted to pass it off to you all if you have anything that you'd like to share.
I'll go first. I want to thank everybody for voting. I'm glad that we have a way that we can all come together and figure things out. I promise not to let you guys down. I promise to put my best foot forward, and I promise to represent us how we need to be represented, because this is our first go around, but not our last go around. So I want to thank everybody for their votes, and everybody just for this whole process, because this has never been done before, but we want to make sure we can keep this going. So thank you so much, and I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayana. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I'll pass it to Charles if you'd like to share.
Yeah, I want to echo Ayana's sentiments, and I'm looking forward to me and you working together and working together to get things done, because it's so important in this position that we get results, and because we need to secure the support of our community. And so I'm hoping that we can focus on some small wins so that we can get our support together, and then we could go after the big dogs. And you guys got fighters on your team, so all we need is your backup.
Thank you, Charles. Yeah, I really, really appreciate it. And, there's going to be other leadership roles in the process, and, other members of the steering committee can play an active role in that when it comes to air quality mapping and strategy development. So we just really appreciate you all, and we look forward to working with you. And I just wanted to open it up to everyone, if you have any reflections to share on the nomination and voting process. If you feel like it went well, it would be great to hear why, and if it didn't, or if there's anything you'd want to change or improve, just because this is something that we'll continue to do as we move through this process in terms of, developing strategies, voting on what strategies we would want to implement. So would love to just hear if anyone has any thoughts or anything they'd want to share.
Yep, and Lou Jane, if I may, we also want to encourage people to share your appreciations to Marina and Shamar for putting themselves out there, because it takes a lot to do that, right? And I think we want to just provide some time to hear from folks about your appreciations for them as well.
Michaela has a question, and then Cynthia has her hand up. So Michaela, do you want to go first?
Yeah, thanks, y'all. Yes, definitely echo appreciations for everyone who applied and spoke. Because they were all really, really great. So super excited. But yeah, I just had a question about the youth chair because I saw Sochi was on the list. And yeah, I guess she wasn't able to make it today, but I just wanted to know what is going to be kind of the next steps for that. Because I remember at the last meeting, we also talked about opening it back up in the new year. So yeah, I was just wondering about the youth engagement part.
Yeah, thanks for that, Michaela. So Sochi, for some reason, hasn't responded, was running and not here today. So, on our end, we're going to be sure to reach out to Sochi and, hopefully everything is okay. And then I guess as a next step, talking collectively about in the new year, having the opportunity to have a youth co-chair, and also speaking to all 4 CSC youth members in the new year, and making sure that that's something that we continue to prioritize throughout this process. And I see, Charles, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just going to say that that's something that now that we have leadership in place can be revisited. We don't have to wait until next year to revisit. We can revisit it as we get more candidates. So I think that's a simple solution we could come up with, because the thing is we have to engage our youth. That has to be one of the primary concerns that we have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you for that, Charles. And Cynthia, if you'd like to go ahead and share.
Yeah, just congratulations to Ayana and Charles. I really want to commend the facilitators for letting Charles be a part of this process, even though there wasn't the form and all that stuff. I really appreciate y'all letting him step up and him be one of our co-chairs. I want to note a couple of things about the other folks that ran. Shamar, I'm trying to, there you are. I'm trying to find your video. I just want to give a shout out to you because I see you, him and I have been a part of Arroyo Viejo Rec Center, the neighborhood association, and he's someone who's really in the community trying to do some changes. And I'm really glad that you put yourself out there, and just sending a lot of love to you. And then for Marina, I just really appreciate a lot of things that you said. And to me, it really brought up the need to prioritize not only the youth as a voice in this space, but the children of East Oakland that often just get put on the sidelines, who are not prioritized. And so wanting to uplift those 2 candidates and their contributions.
Thank you, Cynthia. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and pass it to Shamar.
Hey, just real quick, wanted to thank everybody for the process. I wanted to really congratulate our new leadership. I think we've got really excellent, experienced folks at the helm, and it makes me really excited for the future of this process. I just wanted to say a couple quick things just to clarify, to make just absolutely clear. I draw a firm distinction between the kind of industrial activity that has in the recent past been polluting our community, filling our community with dust and poison of all kinds. And that's got to stop. But I make a distinction between that and, of course, I think the kind of, good paying career track, jobs and careers that folks in the neighborhood can have. And I think there's an opportunity when we have, I don't necessarily envision the Air Board making, and we're also going through at the same time a planning process and a general plan update for the city of Oakland. So we're going to still have a quote unquote industrial zone out here unless they actually take environmental equity and justice seriously in that process. But again, just seeing, opportunities to create jobs that aren't, driving and breaking rocks and, things that are, the same things that people are commuting to San Leandro to get the same $20. Like, we can get a lot better out here if, again, we plan it correctly. So I just wanted to make that distinction in case that alienated folks. And again, just say, I want to hear more voices. Like, I hate, one of the things that I'm gonna say about this process is that, like, the opportunity to have those chats after the meeting, to hear from folks, like, I know this meeting was specific about the candidates, but like in the future, like, just figuring out how this format can facilitate, it's a big committee and we gotta, hear everybody. So I can't wait to hear other folks. I took a lot of space today, so thank you.
Thank you, Shamar. Yeah, really appreciate it. And I see, Charles, you have your hand raised again. If you'd like to add anything.
The only thing I wanted to add is I wanted to echo the sentiments of everybody else in thanking everybody who was involved in this process, because it does take a lot of courage to stand up and be willing to lead. And I want to thank Maria and Shamar. And I can honestly say, Shamar, that I know for a fact that when it comes to workforce development, me and you will be putting our heads together in some committee. And so I'm looking forward to all of the steering committee working with us and working together to accomplish our common goals. And thank you. And I'm gonna shut up and leave y'all alone now.
Thank you, Charles. Appreciate it. Anyone else has any other thoughts or comments that they'd like to share?
Sí, Marina.
Marina, thank you.
Muchas gracias por darme esta oportunidad.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to participate. I'm always the type of people, I don't speak English, I speak Spanish, but I love to participate in leadership. We all need to know that some days we win, others we lose. I just want to congratulate the winners. I'm happy for them because together we're going to do a good job. Even though they speak English and I speak Spanish, we're here together in fighting together. And thank you for the interpreters that support me in particular. And thank you for interpreting. And I think that the best thing of this whole process is that we're all going to move forward. It doesn't matter that we didn't win, but what matters is my community and all the pollutants that exist in our environment that are damaging us. I've always said, and I've worked during years without getting paid. Why? I do it for my community, for our children, and for our seniors. And I love my job. Thank you. Thank you to those co-chairs. And I'm here willing to work with them and to help the Hispanics, because right now we're excluded.
Thank you so much too for your interpretation support, Clara and Carlita as well. Really appreciate it. And I'm just going to go ahead and show the last slide for tonight. Just really thank you all so much for being here, for participating and engaging. And as a reminder, there's going to be a post-meeting survey. Like the previous meetings, there is a form in English and in Spanish. So please go ahead and fill that out so that way we can make improvements and changes for continuing steering committee meetings. And we're going to go ahead and coordinate preparation meetings with the new co-chairs, Charles and Ayana, in the coming weeks. And we'll be taking a pause during the holiday season. So the next meeting will be held on Thursday, February 9th at 6 p.m. And so we won't be having a January meeting, and we just really hope that you will have a good break and have rest, and we'll reconvene in February. Thank you all so much. Great to see you all.
Happy holidays and many blessings, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks.
Happy
y'all.
holidays, everybody. Enjoy
Yep.
your holidays. Spend time with your loved ones.
Have a good one.
Igual, feliz Navidad.